Hey guys, it's Lee, and I thought I would bring you along as I make dinner tonight. I wanted to get more recipe videos up on my channel, so I'm gonna try to start recording when I make something good for dinner so that I can share it with you. So tonight's dinner is going to be beef stew. I make this a little bit differently. Every time I make it, it's never exactly the same because I don't use a recipe. But I thought, you know what? I'll just show you as I'm doing it. I was in Walmart and they had the stew meat marked down. It's not much of a markdown, but every little bit helps. So I bought 2 of those and I'm gonna put them both in this stew. I'm making a lot of beef stew because we like to have leftovers. I have this new crock pot that is smaller than my old one, so we'll see. Hopefully I don't overfill it, but we'll see what happens. Now, depending on what I have going on for the day, sometimes I brown the meat in a frying pan first with onions and garlic and salt and pepper and all that stuff, and sometimes I don't. It does help with the flavor a little bit, but it's fine either way. And I know this is a lot of meat, but this stuff is so good. The second, third day, it is so good. So we like to have lots of leftovers. I'm gonna go ahead and set this to high for 6 hours. It might take a little more time, a little less time. If you have all day, then low for 10 hours is really probably the best way to go, but we'll see what happens. Now I'm gonna chop up a medium onion and a small onion to add that in. I'm adding in a big spoonful of minced garlic. I'm gonna add a bunch of baby carrots in. I already had these, so add those in. Save a few for snacking on. I have these little baby red potatoes that I'm adding in. And I'm also adding in some radishes. So radishes, when they cook down in the beef stew, pretty much come out like the potatoes. You really can't tell much of a difference between the two. And this way you just get more vegetables in your soup. It's also a lower carb option if you're doing low carb or you're diabetic or whatever. I actually heard about this from General Stewart. I'm sure everybody knows who General Stewart is, but if you haven't, look her up. She's amazing. So yeah, I'm gonna add those in as well. I'm adding in a couple of cans of diced tomatoes. I have these Hunt's fire roasted garlic tomatoes. And I have some diced tomatoes that I got at Aldi, just regular diced tomatoes. Next, I'm going to add in a couple of bay leaves. And poultry seasoning. Now, I know what you're thinking. This isn't poultry. But it has thyme, sage, marjoram, rosemary, black pepper, and nutmeg in it, and those all are delicious in beef stew. So I'm going to add some of that in, and then I'm going to add in some extra sage because we like sage in our beef stew. It is so good. Next, I'm going to grind up some black pepper. I grind it in the lid. I know it's weird. And then I just throw it in. And I'm not going to add salt right now because the beef stock I'm using, or the beef broth, because I'm using Better Than Bouillon, I have the lower sodium one, but you know, it has salt in it. I'll wait until it's done and then test it to see if it needs salt. It usually does, but I'd rather not over salt. Then I'm going to add a bunch of Worcestershire sauce, like a lot, because we like it. I was going to save these last few potatoes for something else, but I have room for them in there, so I'm just going to go ahead and add those in as well. Next, I'm going to mix up 4 cups, we'll see if that's enough, of this Better Than Bouillon beef stock, and then I'm going to add some flour to it as well, just some all-purpose flour as a thickening agent. So here is the beef broth I mixed up. I'm going to go ahead and pour some in here because I don't have room to put the flour in it and mix it up. So this is a 1 cup measuring cup, so about half, a little more than half of it I'm going to put in and then mix away till it's smooth. just make a mess and pour that in. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of mix this up a little bit to get those spices down in there. And then I'm just gonna let it go. Just trying to get the potatoes down in there and the radishes. And I'm just gonna let that cook. All right, so the beef stew is done. I ended up turning it, whoops, on low after a while. It smells so good. I'm going to grab a spoon and taste the broth just quickly to make sure it doesn't need anything extra. Oh, and this is what the radishes end up looking like. They just look like potatoes. All right, that is pretty good. It does need some more seasoning though. So let me get those out and kind of doctor this up a little. Definitely needs more sage. I love sage. Needs a little salt. Not too much. You can always salt it at the table. Some more pepper. I'm thinking it needs so much more seasoning because I used 2 big packs of meat in there. And some more Worcestershire sauce. Gonna stir that up and I'm sure it's gonna be perfect. All right, so here is my bowl of beef stew. My husband's walking the dog, so as soon as he gets back, we'll dish some up for him as well. I also made some biscuits. These just came from a can from Aldi. I didn't make those from scratch. That is one thing I have never learned to make, and that's a little embarrassing because I'm from Virginia and my grandmothers and my mother used to always make homemade biscuits and I just never learned to do it. So I'm gonna have to do that. If you have a great biscuit recipe, of course, the ladies in my life did not use a recipe. They just threw things together and poof, they made biscuits. But if you have a really good biscuit recipe, let me know, link it down below or type it out for me down below, please. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little bell so you don't miss out on any of my upcoming videos. You can also find me over on Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook at Lee's Home 05. Thanks for watching.